but to never lose track of our prospects. And we mentioned last week, Kendi wanted us to do a program on where everybody brought in that whole big pile of cards you have. How many cards do we have? Most of us have piles of cards, don't we? Business cards that we've collected. So basically we've lost track of those prospects, or at least they're not in our prospecting system anymore. And they're, and to follow back up with them at this date, because we haven't done it properly in the past, is very awkward in most cases. Okay? So we put those people into the system, and then of course I use Outlook, but you can use whatever you want, and I also import them into my Outlook system. So now let's talk about send out cards. I intentionally did not bring my computer today because I didn't want to get involved in showing you how to make a campaign, because you can go to SendToShare.com, which is my Send Out Cards website, or if you're working with somebody else with Send Out Cards, you can go to their website. But the website has its own database, plus it has a card file in there of over 15,000 greeting cards, or about 15,000 greeting cards. You can make your own cards. You can import pictures. You can use your own handwriting font. You can do all sorts of stuff. And if you want to become a customer and use the system, then there's all kind of videos on there. Plus, I do training. All you have to do is go on georgesims.com, and you can find training on that system. But my point here today is I'm more interested in the psychology and the follow-up methodology, I would say. Because what we want to do then, we want to go in and design our card campaigns. And the first card campaign is a card, you need two of them. And they're just one card campaigns. One card is going to say, nice to meet you. And then one card is going to say, good to see you again, because there's going to be some people there that you need to follow up with that you've already met previously for some reason. So we have two separate campaigns. So basically, you're able, in the system, is to pull those people up either individually or as a group, click one button, and have those cards go out to that whole group of people that you've selected. So when I get home, now remember, I want you to all remember now to track how much time we have involved in this process to generate all these people and convert them. Up to this time, we don't have a lot of time involved, do we? We had 2 hours at the meeting, maybe some drive time back and forth, right? It may have cost us, what, $5, $10, $15 to go to the meeting sometimes, right? And now we come home. How long would it take to type in 30 cards in an Excel file? Somebody tell me, 15, 20 minutes maybe? Mm-hmm. If you get used to typing into a template, pretty darn easy, okay? So now we don't have a lot of time involved. Now we push another button. All we do is we push a button, and we're going to send all these people a card that says, nice to meet you. It will be addressed to them personally with your own handwriting font on the outside of it, first-class stamp postage with a nice greeting card, your own handwriting font on the inside, and it'll even have verbiage in there for that particular meeting. It says, it was nice to meet you at Next Level Networking, last Thursday. Or, you don't normally do that. Just say it's a Next Level Networking meeting, because you're going to use that same over and over, because every time you go to the Next Level Networking meeting, you're going to use that same campaign, okay? So, I'll send all these people a card. And there'll be a few people there that I'll know that I've already met before, but, and I may want to send them a card, a good to see you card, so I send them the separate campaign. And what did I have to do for that? Since I've already got my campaigns made up on a mail merge type thing so that their first name goes inside the card, and I'll show you basically here what one of those looks like. For instance, I'll just hold this up for the camera there. Just a little note says, nice to meet you. Just wanted to send you a little note to let you know it was nice to meet you. On the card on the left-hand side, I've got a verse that I like, a little quote that says, there's nothing capricious in nature, and the implanting of a desire indicates that its gratification is in the constitution of the creature that feels it. Emerson. Anybody know why I picked that quote? Okay. Anybody guess? Because most people don't know what it means. I mean, not off the top of your head. I mean, when you think about this, this is fairly deep, and I had to read it myself several times to really, really think about what it really means. I mean, you know, somebody else said, if you conceive it, if the man of mind conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. Well, that's the same quote, but it's just quoted differently. So some people, this will catch their attention. It'll be something different than the type of things that they normally hear, because I could have put the other quote in there. But you see what I'm saying is, it's different. So that's why it's in there, because it made me think differently or deeper than what I would have thought with the other quote. Does that make sense? It's it's something to catch people's attention. Are we about running out?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So now over here I have a personal note, and you see here, this is addressed to Season. It's got me a little personal note down here that says, it was enjoyable meeting you at the St. Matthew's Business Associated meeting. Practice on that pool game, because she and I played a game of pool at that meeting, and she's the gal that works out a home office in St. Matthew's. Okay, best of success to you always. So all I do is I make up several. I duplicate these. I make a generic, then I duplicate them, and I change 3 words in there that says, whatever the organization is. All right. So now I don't have to do anything. I push that button when I get home from this meeting yesterday morning, and all 35 of those people get this card like this, addressed to them personally, with their name on the outside, my handwriting font. Okay? Now, I've got a follow-up in there set for 5 days. So in other words, I know it's going to take them a couple days, 2 to 3 days to get the card. So my follow-up is set for 5 days, and I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to set it for 5 days. Folks, this follow-up call is of utmost importance. Utmost importance. So we're going to talk about that now. When you follow up, you'd say something like this. Say, Don, this is George Sims, how you doing? And Don's going to say, well, okay. And he may or may not acknowledge that I received a card. He received a card. But then what I'm going to say is, Don, I just wanted to follow up with you. Just see if you got my card, and see if you, based on our conversation tonight, see if you might want to get together and learn a little bit more about each other's business. Learn a little bit more about each other's business. And if they say, well, yes, that's fine. If they say, what do they normally say?
I'm busy.
I'm busy. Call me back next week. I say, well, yeah, I've got an interest. Call me back next week. You're going to set, some appointments, but my point is 80% of them say, call me back next week. And this is a little bit of review before it. But the point here is if you agree to call them back, you've just lost control of your environment. Now, again, if somebody says, well, call me back in 10 minutes, I'm not at my computer, then I'm going to do that, obviously, right? But if they say next week, never, 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 ever agree to call them back. If in this scenario I'm talking about. So here's what you say. I'm going to say, well, Don, you know what? Well, man, I'm really glad you're busy. Fortunately, I'm a little bit busy too, and I'm not going anywhere. So as a way to be more convenient for you, why don't you just call me back when you're ready to look at the program, and I'll be happy to meet with you at your convenience. Would that be okay? And people are going to say, well, sure, that's okay. Number one, that's okay with them because they don't have to deal with it right now. And number two is that truthfully, remember, you only met these people a few minutes at a networking meeting. They've received one card from you now, which they thought was nice, but you're still not real high on their totem pole unless they've already expressed a real sincere interest. And if they had expressed an interest, they would have done what? They'd have given you an appointment right off the bat, right? So, you're still not real high on their totem pole. So that kind of thing, they're kind of thinking, well, hey, man, got rid of them, and that's okay. So what happens now is that they agree to do that. I come home.